Yeah, hi there. These comments are for HF. This is Michael, the founder, owner, and the materials writer for the 7-step system to pass the TOEFL IBT. And I just finished reading your first independent writing practice test for my online course, and you're one of my students over at California State University, San Bernardino. So anyway, thank you for completing the writing assignment. Okay, let's talk about the essay in terms of organization, development, and then we can take a look at some of the finer points of your grammar, your sentence structure, and those kinds of things. Your first paragraph, you have a thesis. You say, clean, helping, and responsible are the most important qualities which a good roommate will have, right? So you definitely have that. In your body paragraphs, you have a pretty good connection using the strategy of first of all, then you have in addition, and then trying to figure out the last idea. Hold on a minute. Let me open up your Word document too. It might be easier for me to look at it and comment on it that way. Oh yeah, you space the paragraphs. Okay, so it's going to be better. So in terms of your thesis, you restate your thesis in your second, third, your fourth body paragraph. So in the second paragraph you say, first of all, important quality of a good roommate is clean, right? So you develop that idea. You get to the next paragraph and you say, in addition, roommate must help each other because they live and spend a long time together. So that's your second idea. In the next body paragraph you say, lastly, a good roommate should be responsible. So you have a good connection. It's clear. It's clear what's happening based on your introduction. I can also see the connection in the body paragraphs and how they connect back to the information in the introduction. So I think your organization is actually quite strong. Now let's take a look at your development, your details. Okay, so in your second body paragraph, to help support the idea of why being clean is important, you do give some examples in that paragraph to support that idea. In the next body paragraph, in terms of, I think in the second point, you're talking about helping, right? So your first paragraph, body paragraph, is being clean. Okay, and the second one you say, in addition, roommate must help each other. And then in the examples you talk about taking your dishes and washing them, and then you say it's a strategy to help to clean the home, so that was good. So you're talking about being helpful, and you really make the examples connect back to the purpose of that paragraph. And your last paragraph, where you're talking about responsible or having responsibility, again, you take the end of the paragraph, you connect it to the beginning. Still, there is a very unified purpose to that paragraph. So far, so good. I think your organization is strong. You're definitely using adequately supporting details to support your generalization, so that's good. Now the final thing we want to take a look at is your word choice, your sentence structure, your grammar, and so on. This is your weakest area. Everything else is strong. So I'm going to take a look at each paragraph, and I will point out a specific type of problem with your grammar and your word choice in each one. Okay, with your first paragraph, let's talk about your thesis. This is called parallel structure problems. You say clean, helping, and responsible. I would revise that to say this. I would say being clean, being helpful, and being responsible are the most important qualities which a good roommate will have. Or you can say this: cleanliness, helpfulness, and responsibility are the most important qualities which a good roommate will have, right? The main thing is those three things. You want to keep the grammar parallel. Okay, let's go to your next paragraph. Let's take a look at, in the middle of the paragraph, you have what's called a sentence shift. A sentence shift means we have three kinds of sentence styles in writing. We have a declarative, interrogative, we have an imperative. Normally in academic writing, HF, we want to use what's called the declarative sentence. It's a sentence which has a subject and a verb, and you're stating information, basically. So in the previous sentence, you have a very, very nicely written sentence. You say, for example, when I enter my home and see it, I would say messy, I do not start to study or do my homework until I clean it. Then you say, if I start to study with I would change it to say a messy home, I will think about it. Then you say also, take care of self is very important because no one likes to live with a dirty person. So you want to say this. Also, instead of saying take care, you can say taking care of oneself is very important because no one likes to live with a dirty person. So by changing that verb to a gerund, you now have a subject. You avoid the sentence shift, which means it looks like you're trying to use what's called an imperative. But if you change it to taking, you avoid that, and you have a good subject which agrees in number with the verb is. So that would be a problem with what's called using gerunds in your sentence to help the sentence structure. Okay, let's go to your next paragraph. Okay, let's take a look at the first two sentences. This is called pronoun shifts. You say, in addition, a roommate must help each other because they live and spend a long time together. And then you say, for example, when you eat, you have to take your dishes and wash them. So you're shifting from a roommate, which is the third person singular, and then you're shifting into the second person singular in the second sentence. You could change it to something like this. You might say, a roommate must help, and let's talk about me here. I mean, you're talking about your situation and why these qualities are important to you. So you could say, a good roommate must help me because we live and spend a long time together. For example, when my roommate eats, he or she will take his or her dishes and wash them. Something like that, right? So that way you're staying focused on the roommate and you're not trying to talk directly to the audience. Okay, let's go to your final paragraph. You say in the first sentence there, lastly, a good roommate should be responsible, and then roommates have a lot of responsibility together as you need a subject after that subordinating clause connector, say as they rent the home, TV, cable, electricity bill, trash and water bill. I think rent the home, you don't really rent the cable or rent the electricity or the trash, so you might say this, together as they rent a home and pay for the TV, cable, electricity, trash, and water bill. So, a roommate, not your roommate, a roommate has to be responsible with money. So those would be my changes I might make in those sentences. So there, you're having some problems with what's called sentence formation issues, and also a little bit of problems with connecting renting the home versus paying the TV, cable, electricity bill, trash, and water bill. So you were having trouble constructing that sentence so that it would kind of make sense. Okay, so in conclusion, in the final paragraph, you say, I believe clean, helping, and responsible are. I would change that to say, I believe being clean, being helpful, and being responsible are the most important qualities for a good roommate. Right? So that would be how I would kind of change the grammar in that particular sentence. Now the next question is, based on your score, and let me give you a score right now. I'm going to put you in the, I think you have very strong organization and strong grammar, but you have a lot of problems with your sentence structure, your word choice, your word forms, and so on. So that will bring your essay down, unfortunately, into the 2 range. So for this essay, I'm going to give you 2.25 out of 5. or 15 points out of 30. And the main thing I'd recommend for you is I think that you probably want to work more in the grammar section of my course than actually the writing section of my course, because you seem to have a good understanding of how to structure your thesis, your topic sentences. You also know how to provide the supporting detail to help explain your ideas. Your biggest weakness is the grammar. The grammar and the word choice is getting in the way of expressing your ideas. So what you want to do is go to my online course and focus in the grammar part of the course. Grammar lesson number 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then spend the remainder of the quarter focusing in the grammar lesson number 7. You want to focus in the writing and the grammar parts of the website. And I would also recommend, as you go through lesson number 7, practice writing the correct versions of the sentences that you study, so that you can get more used to the kind of grammar that we use when we're writing. Now also, in addition to that, HF, I would also advise you to take time on a regular basis to read. Read magazines, read newspapers, read longer books. Again, as you see a sentence or two every now and then, one that you think is really nicely written, copy it down on a sheet of paper. Again, you're just trying to get used to the grammar and the writing style and so on. So if you can make improvements in your grammar, I think you could dramatically improve your writing, your overall writing proficiency. You could score really, really high, I think, on the TOEFL test. But anyway, thank you for doing the writing assignment, and I look forward to reading your next independent writing practice test.